So we've talked about having faith and the family, and you've got such an experience from your family. Your father wasn't a member of the church, but in his later years, he joined the church. Tell us about that.
When I was growing up, I always wished that he would convert to the church, and I talked to him about it many, many times, and I would beg him to go to church with me. And I remember I was so excited. He went with me when I was baptized and confirmed. I remember that Sunday he came to church, and I think that was the first time I remember seeing him in church. Was when I was 8 years old, and I'd often talk to him about church, and he was very interested in church history. He read a lot of books on church history, and he would often ask me questions that I couldn't answer, you know, hard things. And so I'd often go back to my Sunday school teachers or whatever and ask them and bring him the answers. But as he got older, he had many friends, both in and out of the church, and many of them tried to convert him. He was given a Book of Mormon. I think we had at least 20 copies, you know, on our shelf that he had been given, and so people had felt like he would be a good member because he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he you know, his beliefs were so similar. And so one day, though, one of the men that he had taught tennis to when I was growing up, who was older and a friend of his, called me and said, "I think your father's ready to be baptized." And I said, "Why do you think that? I mean, he's 88 years old." I said, I decided at this point, I've worked hard enough to get him baptized. I can't do any more. And it'll just have to be in the next life. So anyway, he said, "No, I talked to him one day, and I think he is ready to be baptized. And so would it be okay if I sent the missionaries to him?" And I said, "Sure, that's just fine." I said, "He's had the missionary discussion very often. Every one of his grandchildren, he had 13 grandchildren, 11 of them served missions, just 2 girls who didn't. And of the 11 grandchildren, the first place they went when they got home was to his house. And they'd give him the first discussion once again. And he withstood all of them. So when this man, who is actually his doctor now, said, "I would like to send the missionaries to him," I thought, here we go again. But he sent them to him. And one day this man called me back and he said, "Your father has agreed to be baptized." I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. And so he was baptized, and that was a very exciting time for the whole family because all of his children and grandchildren were active in the church. And so they all came for his baptism. He was funny. He would not invite any of his friends to come because I don't think he knew where to start and stop. He had so many people through the years who had tried to convert him, and so he just said, "I just want family." And then about 2 hours before his baptism, he called me and he said, "You know, I've been thinking about it, and if your mother and father-in-law want to come, it's okay." And I said, "Oh, that's really nice of you." And I laughed. So Dick called his parents, and they said, "Sure, we'd love to come." My father's brother came, and 2 brothers came, and then my parents, and then our children, and my sisters and their children. And so it was wonderful to just have our family together, and everyone took part, and it was a wonderful occasion. It was just wonderful. But then soon after, my mother became ill and eventually died, and then my father became ill and died. So they were never able to go to the temple together. And my whole life I had wanted them to, you know, go to the temple and have us sealed to them as children. So a year after they were gone, after they had died, I said to Dick, we were on our mission. And I said, "Dick, I want to go to the temple and be sealed to my parents." And he said, "Well, we're on a mission." He said, I'm a sealer, but I can't do that when I'm on a mission. And he said, "You have to get written permission from the president of the church to do that." I said, "Well, I can dial the number." So anyway, he got permission from his father, and we went.
I knew it was easier to deal with my father on an exception than to live with her.
Because I kept saying, "This is what I want to do. I can't wait. I can't wait till we're through with our mission." And so we've got all of our children and my sisters and their children, and we all went to the temple together. And it was just a wonderful occasion. And that was just a wonderful day. And we all went afterwards to their graves and put flowers on their graves and had dinner together and celebrated. Wonderful thing. After he was baptized at the age of 89, And so that was wonderful to finally have our family together and
Wow.
be sealed.